So what I wanted to talk about today was how you broadcast with SAP Analytics Cloud and what some of the limitations are, and how APOS can help fix that, so that you can understand the entire picture from the SAP Analytics Cloud suite. So let's look at the external recipients. So as you can see here, we've entered in more than 3 external recipients in a particular broadcast, and just for fun, either Alan or Goldie put in AOL, so I haven't seen an AOL email address in a long time, but a Hotmail, an AOL, and a Gmail are external recipients. Obviously, we cannot exceed 3, so APOS fixes that with their solution, but you should be aware of that limitation going into this. Also, you have volume limitations based on how much licensing you own. And the key number here is 25. So once you have 25 SAC licenses, you can do 1 publication per hour. So typically a named user, but it also applies to concurrent sessions as well. Do keep that in mind. So where this is important, because 25 is an awfully small number, if you have a test environment, make sure you at least buy 25 users. So that's an important qualification. And then if you kind of multiply that out by 24, as there's 24 hours in the day, you can see like a system of 100 named users can have 120 distributions, or a system of 1,200 users can have 1,440 distributions per day. So good to know those volume limitations. Also filtering, and this is something that didn't carry over from BusinessObjects, unfortunately. So you can only filter if the story itself or the page has a filter that already exists. So you can see here, filters are grayed out on this distribution. So you cannot filter on the fly based on any dimension that's associated with the report or within the model. You'd actually have to go back, add it into the report, and then schedule the publication with the story filter. So something to be aware of as you're doing this. And of course, this is something that APOS fixes in their solution as well. Dynamically driven properties. So the idea here is dynamically adding dynamic values, or having dynamic values added to a report, whether it's variables or email addresses, etc., is not something that you can do in the scheduling piece. And this is something traditionally we had done in BusinessObjects, either by section breaks or something like that. So something to keep in mind. And Alan Golding will show you that in a little bit, how you can do that via the APOS add-in. Conditional broadcasting, I did talk about this earlier. So the idea is scheduling a distribution of reporting content, whether it's the story itself or the underlying data. You cannot do a schedule-based trigger in SAC natively. And that trigger can be really important to getting a jump on the day, especially if your database is finishing fairly early. One day you might want to get a jump on that. We don't have that link between the database and SAC to do that. Something that APOS has, and traditionally we've had in BusinessObjects as well. And then, of course, we cannot schedule analysis for Office or A4O. So A4O can be scheduled by BusinessObjects, currently not in SAC. So it is something to be aware of. And of course, APOS resolves this issue with their add-in, which Alan Golding will talk about very shortly. And of course, we're pretty open about these limitations at SAP. So this is something we've published out so that customers are aware. So SAP Analytics Cloud does a lot of things, and in fairness, it does a lot more traditionally than Webby. So it covers all the business intelligence capability that Webby does, maybe not in as much depth, but it also does a whole bunch of other things that Webby can't do. So data exploration, discovery, it has a catalog capability, augmented analytics. This chart hasn't been updated for some of the Gen AI things we're doing with Knowledge Graph and Joule within SAP Analytics Cloud. But we have called out as a shortcoming is high volume publications. So you will see on the far right, left-hand side of the screen, an asterisk by high volume publications. And we're actually, recommending that people use the APOS solution for this APOS publisher for SAP Analytics Cloud. So that is part of our decks at SAP and our help documentation on help.sap.com. So something to be aware of. SAP Analytics Cloud is incredibly functional. This is a shortcoming we have with high volume publications.